Hi, welcome to the Kickoff SA. In this video, we are talking everything Kaizer Chiefs, transfer news and related stories. And we start here by saying that there is still uncertainty with regards to the future of Coach Nabi at Kaizer Chiefs, especially after leading Kaizer Chiefs to their first trophy in a decade. And the season of Kaizer Chiefs haven't been very well. I mean, they had a poor season by their standards. And there is no doubt about that because they couldn't even finish in the top 8 this season. They haven't really covered themselves with glory this season. So had Coach Nabi not won the Nedbank Cup, I thought maybe the decision would have been straightforward, but there are also extenuating circumstances. If you look at the Kaizer Chiefs under Coach Nabi, despite losing so many games, not really and performing as expected. If you look at the metrics, you realize that Kaizer Chiefs, they created number of chances more than most of the team in the Betway Premiership. And if those changes were converted, you realize that Kaizer Chiefs would have finished somewhere number 3 or even number 2 had those chances converted, because they really created number of chances under Coach Nabi. And that is why even recently the coach has been talking about if he can get a striker, because this is an admission, and one cannot say is to undermine the current strikers that he has, because clearly the number of chances that Kaizer Chiefs they have created this season, they just needed somebody to come and really score those goals. Because if you remember, a player like Wandile Dubai has been injured for some time. He came back and started scoring goals for Chiefs. While Chiefs, they've got likes of Rangachiva Viro there, they've got Ashley Dupree, they've got Morris up top. But it is Wandile Dubai, when he came after the injury, that really helped Kaizer Chiefs, even to help them to win the Nedbank Cup when they beat Sundowns in the semi-finals before going to beat Orlando Pirates in the final. So if you look at it from that point, you realize that Kaizer Chiefs, indeed, they haven't done very well, but in terms of the chances created, they just needed strikers who can help Kaizer Chiefs to finish up top. So that's where it makes things a little difficult, I think, even for the Kaizer Chiefs management, because as far as the league is very poor. I mean, for Nabi to come to Chiefs, with Chiefs having not reached the top 8, finish inside the top 8, it was supposed to be an easiest task for him, at least put Chiefs on number 6, at least. But that's something that he failed dismally. Then we look at the players that he brought in January. I'm talking about your Tabokele and Glody Mikabililepo. Mikabililepo, as we speak, is the current top goal scorer at Kaizer Chiefs, and he just arrived in January. And that states a lot about the quality of players, that what the quality players they can bring to Kaizer Chiefs, because Coach Nabi wants the quality players. He's looking for a fullback, left back, he's looking for a right back, he's looking for a winger, he's looking for a striker. Those are the qualities that the Tunisian tactician is looking for at Kaizer Chiefs. And looking at what Lillepo has done, and looking at the stability and the technical security that was brought in that midfield by Thabo Kgaile since arriving in January, it speaks a lot of quality players and what they can bring to Kaizer Chiefs. And it's very clear to see that if Coach Nabi can get a striker and at least 2 or 3 players that he's looking for, maybe, just maybe, next season could be a better season for Kaizer Chiefs. Because this season, honestly, this has been a very poor season by their standards. And as I said, it should have been an easier season, at least by just qualifying Chiefs into the top 8. But he failed. But then winning the Nedbank, of which it's something that Kaizer Chiefs have failed to do, even the other coaches they failed to do in the last 10 years. It's something that restored the pride of Kaizer Chiefs. It restored the dignity of Kaizer Chiefs. And that is why even the management were very happy about this trophy, because despite not reaching the top 8, this trophy is very, 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 very important. So I think what Kaizer Chiefs, they are most likely to do here is to look at the metrics. The analysts, they will look at the metrics. They realize that Chiefs created more chances enough to finish higher up on the log, at least number 3 on the log. But they couldn't, because they never had players who could finish. And surprisingly, Kaizer Chiefs in cup competition, they have performed so well. When they played against big sides like Pirates and Sundowns, Kaizer Chiefs have always brought their performance, whether they win or they lose. But they've always really came strong and play with their big match temperament, showing that they are a big team as well. But then when they switched to the league, that's where Kaizer Chiefs, they really faltered. And it's something that I still believe that it was more of a psychological thing, because it can't be that when you play Pirates, when you play Sundowns, you bring your A game, but then when you go back to your league games, you start to show a certain decline, or lack of form, whatever, a lot of commitment. Because that's the difference between, and I strongly believe that this has been to do with a psychological aspect, because against top teams they've shown. Pirates struggled to beat Stellenbosch, but Kaizer Chiefs, they've been beating Stellenbosch effortlessly. And when Pirates, they played Chiefs, Chiefs have shown up, they beat Pirates. And even Coach Nabi recently, he said that I can compete. I beat the team that played CAF Champions League semi-final. I beat the team that plays that's playing CAF Champions League final. So it means we are already right up there with the best in the league. It's unfortunate that we couldn't finish in the top 8. It's unfortunate that we couldn't convert the chances that we got. And Nabi has a point, because he beat Pirates, he beat Chiefs. And those are the teams that, he beat Pirates and Sundowns. So those are the teams that reached semi-final and the final of CAF Champions League. And as Mhleli Sundowns heading to the second leg in Egypt, where after a draw 1-1 at home with Pyramids, maybe Sundowns will be able to become the champions. And those are some of the things that Coach Nabi is very, very strong believing that his team has shown that they can compete. And talking about the team looking to compete, it has been reported that Mhleli Mabuza, who has been training with Kaizer Chiefs, who has been playing in Portugal, the Kaizer Chiefs, they are yet to make their overall assessment on the player, as they has been assessing since towards the end of this season. He has been training with Kaizer Chiefs, and his camp, they believe that he has done enough to impress the team. But at this stage, because Kaizer Chiefs, they are still looking at various options, they are moving slowly in wrapping up the deal for Mabuza, because they are still trying to look at the options. And even the transfer window hasn't started, so obviously you would expect Kaizer Chiefs to take their time as they look at various options. But now it has been reported that he has been training with Kaizer Chiefs, and his camp, they believe that he has done very well. Mabuza, Kaizer Chiefs on that right back position, they have only Riff Frosler there, and then Zitakunyika played there as well. And Solomons, who is more of a wing back, he has been the one who's been playing more recently that side. And in Jabulo Blom, he didn't play much either in the midfield or the right back position. And also it remains to be seen whether Kaizer Chiefs, they will try to sign Jabulo Blom permanently from his MSL side, or he will go back to USA. So Mhleli Mabuza is still training with Kaizer Chiefs, has been assessed, and his camp is happy. They believe that the technical team have seen enough of him. Maybe just a matter of gathering all the information and looking at that option before concluding the deal, because he brings European experience to Kaizer Chiefs, and he's very physically strong and very good left back, and a fullback who's very adept at both ends of the pitch. So this is something that Kaizer Chiefs will be looking at in terms of wrapping up the deal for this player who has done very well in Portugal. So another story that we have is that Mduduzi Mdantsane, who has just played 2 games for Richards Bay, is back has been sent back to Kaizer Chiefs. As his loan staying there, he didn't really go as accordingly. So he has been back to Chiefs. And if you remember, Kaizer Chiefs also, they have other 2 players who were on loan that their loans didn't really work as they expected. And I'm talking about Mduduzi Mdantsane at Richards Bay, as well as Sabelo Hadebe at Richards Bay. And then another one is Johnson, the young striker, who was on loan at SuperSport United. Those are some of the players that will be expected to go back to Kaizer Chiefs, and then they will be able to look at, as the season starts, they will be during the off-season to see which players they offload, which ones they're selling offload. So Mduduzi Mdantsane, the playmaker who still has 2 years to run on his contract with Kaizer Chiefs, will be going back to Kaizer Chiefs. And from Richards Bay, since the loan move didn't really work well for him as Kaizer Chiefs would have expected. So that is the story that we have. Another story is that there are teams from Kazakhstan and Saudi Arabia, even in PSL, that they are showing a lot of interest in Kaizer Chiefs goalkeeper Fiacre Ntwari, who joined Kaizer Chiefs at the beginning of this season on a 4-year deal from TS Galaxy. Now, after starting a few games at the beginning of the season and the injury happened, then Ntwari lost his place in the team. But Adel Amoroche, the coach of Rwanda national team, continued to play him, and he believes that Fiacre Ntwari is the future. And even earlier in March, after the qualifiers, he said that there are a few teams in French second division who made inquiries about Fiacre Ntwari. So it remains to be seen if Kaizer Chiefs will be able to offload Ntwari, or they will wait for the highest bidder in order to recoup some money that they spent on him from TS Galaxy, so that they can be able to reinvest. And the good thing about Ntwari departing Kaizer Chiefs will be that Kaizer Chiefs will be opening space for a foreign player, of which will be massive for Kaizer Chiefs as they look to build strong team going into the next season. So that is the story with regards to Ntwari. There are interest from Kazakhstan, from Saudi Arabia, even from some PSL clubs. they are showing interest on Fiacrentor, so he will never be run out of suitors at the end of this campaign. And I believe that Kaizer Chiefs will make sure that they move him on so that they can in a position to promote one of their own goalkeepers and even bring some foreign players into the team. Lastly, there is Sipho Mbule, who's his agent. His agent, Mr. Mike Makap, report that if by the 31st of May, Mamelodi Sundowns haven't said anything with regards to his two players there, I'm talking about Sipho Mbule and Rivaldo Kutsie, he says they will start looking for options going forward with these two players. He admitted that Sipho Mbule, yes, he has his own issues, and that one he said we cannot beat around the bushes about that. He's a player who was in issues. But remember, this is the player that Chiefs wanted before he moved to SuperSport. Sipho Mbule wanted to go to Kaizer Chiefs. Now, with Kaizer Chiefs being very good in business, trying to get quality players on free, Sipho Mbule is arguably one of the best natural playmakers that we still have in the country. And for Kaizer Chiefs to move to get Sipho Mbule, that will be massive for him. How are they going to deal with his off-the-field behavior and all those things? It's something for another day. But when it comes to pure talent, some of the players that we are praising every day on PSL, they are not even worth it to tie the laces of Sipho Mbule's shoes in terms of talent, because he's just a top playmaker that we have in the country. And hopefully Kaizer Chiefs will move for Sipho Mbule. And remember, recently they've just extended the contract of Ngosipile Ngobo, and he's playing almost similar role with Sipho Mbule. And then we'll have to wait and see what Kaizer will, especially with Mduduzi Mdantsane coming. But the quality of Sipho Mbule, his playmaking qualities, his defense splitting passes, his ability to be arrogant on the ball, you know, for a big Chiefs, for a big club like Kaizer Chiefs, to have somebody who's arrogant on the ball and who can dribble, who can run at defenders with the ball, make those defense splitting passes, I think it will be a top signing for Kaizer Chiefs. But as I said, how Chiefs deal with his off-the-field behavior, that's going to be something for another day. But they will have to find a way to deal with that, because if they can manage that, they will have one of the top playmakers in the country, at least for the next 3 years. And I think it's a good option for Kaizer Chiefs, especially coming on free, should Mamelodi Sundowns not to activate the option that they had on his initial contract when he joined Mamelodi Sundowns. So we will have to wait and see if Kaizer Chiefs will move for Sipho Mbule or they will not. But as it stands, I don't think there is any way where Sipho Mbule will move. Remember, Sipho Mbule was on loan at Sekhukhune United, but then there was something that happens there with the technical team. There were some disagreements, so, and even some off the field incidents. Then Sekhukhune United decided to send him back to Mamelodi Sundowns. So it's up to Miguel Cardoso and the technical team of Mamelodi Sundowns to decide. But considering that Miguel Cardoso prefers to work with a smaller squad, it's highly unlikely that Mamelodi Sundowns will continue with Rivaldo Kutsie as well as Sipho Mbule. So I think this one, Sipho Mbule, as it stands, I strongly believe that he will end up at Kaizer Chiefs ahead of next season. Thank you for watching this video. See you on the next video.